So what's your definition of executive
Mhm,
presence?
mhm, mhm. Well, I always use this framework of A, B, C, D, E as the tools to create an executive presence in your organization. And I'm very focused on leadership. But what I want you to understand is that, let's call it leadership presence, that each of us, no matter what role or what title we have, in some sort are leaders. There are always people looking at you, and you always want specific people have to follow you, right? And this might be official in an organizational structure, or it might be not official. It might be your colleagues. It might be even people from outside the organization. It might be people in your community where you need to use your presence to convince them that you are the right person for that job, for that challenge, for that role, whatever it is. And what I want you to understand is that very often leaders, even without the official title, have a leadership presence or an executive presence long before they actually get the title executive or leader or the role. So, a president of a state hasn't appeared and behaved and communicated like a president the day he or she or they got voted in. They have already appeared, behaved, and communicated long before, maybe decades ago, that somebody thought this is a potential president. A CEO, to bring it into the corporate world, a CEO hasn't just appeared, behaved, communicated like a CEO the day he, she, or they have been appointed as a CEO. They had already that executive presence probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, so that somebody thought, oh, here is a potential CEO for the future, and we will work together to bring you on that path, or identified them as a candidate.
So what's your advice for how to better improve executive presence? I mean, you touched on a couple of things, obviously how you show up, how you look, but what are some of the tips you might offer folks who just want to be taken more seriously even?
Mhm, mhm. Well, first of all, be more intentional. Because most of the time we run on autopilot, right? In our appearance, in our behavior, and our communication. And so focus and force yourself on being more intentional throughout the day and also before in your planning. But secondly, I take my audiences through a 3-step process. The first step is to define what your executive presence actually should say. And you need to define this with one word only. You need to define one word that you want to imprint on everybody else, no matter if it's your boss or your colleague or your neighbor. And that one word must become your anchor, because if you change that one word just to massage it for the audience that is in front of you, just for the person you are interacting with, you come over inauthentic. And that's something people instantly notice. And that word could be trust, and that trust appears, behaves, communicates very different than somebody who chooses a word like innovative, or somebody who chooses a word like caring, or somebody who chooses a word like powerful. All those words look and feel very differently, right?
Right.
But here's the challenge. Then you need to look into 2 more perspectives, no matter if you are in a corporate environment or if you're a business owner. The one perspective is, does this word also represent your corporate brand or your business brand? Because it's a difference if you want to represent trust and you work for an IT company in Silicon Valley, or you work for a financial organization in downtown Manhattan, right? They both probably have very different brand messages, those 2 companies. And then there's the third component, which means, is this actually what your clients expect from you? Do your clients really come to you because trust is their biggest pain point? Or do they have different expectations? And out of those 3 components, I let them craft an appearance, a behavior, a communication style, and a digital footprint that allows them to more intentionally imprint those messages subconsciously. But it always starts with you. If you give up yourself totally, as I said, then you will come over as inauthentic and somebody who's trying too hard to be somebody who you actually are.